Alright everybody, we have a new product to use today, so let's get started. We're going to be using the Prima Oil pastels, and they're water soluble. So right now you see I'm using the Misty tool, and what I'm doing is just I laid down the stamps exactly in the order that I wanted them, and I'm using my favorite black ink with clear stamps, which you all know is the VersaFine Black Onyx ink. And the best part about the Misty tool is we're using watercolor paper, and a lot of times when you stamp on watercolor paper, it never stamps completely clear. So the Misty tool allows you to be able to stamp multiple times in the same spot to get your black ink really crisp. So you're going to see me here a few times stamping it because the one in the very middle for some reason was having issues. And then all I do is turn the page over, and where I could fit in my pattern, that's where I laid it down. And I think I only had to do this one I think it was only twice that I had to stamp this one. And then just slide it over, and it looked like it was in a good position. Ink it up, and then stamp it down. And right now this stamp set is actually from Winnie and Walter. I'm not sure when this one is going to be available. This was in the first stamp of approval box. This one was called Eva's Favorite Flowers. And I did a mixture of solid stamps and ones that were more outlined, so that way we can do some coloring. And then all I'm doing, since I used the VersaFine ink, I'm just covering the entire page with the clear embossing powder. And we're just going to heat it up real quick. And you know, it's once you get your heat tool cleared up, you know, heated up, it doesn't take long for it to heat this clear embossing powder, and you know it's done when the black turns really shiny. Alright. So now that that's done, I got my clear stamp, my clear, like, what are those things called? Yeah, the clear stamp block. And I'm just rubbing my oil pastel on top of the block, and then I'm taking my water brush and I'm grabbing ink from the block, and that's how I'm coloring it in. And you can go as light or as heavy as you want. You can actually create some shading by going lighter with your color and then doing darker, but on this one I really wasn't worried about shading. I just wanted to color it in and make it pretty. So we're using the green. I'm just filling in on the leaves. And see, you can just keep layering color on top of each other. That'll make it darker. And when you add water, it definitely works just like, almost like a watercolor. And now we're going to use, it's like a purple pinkish color, and that's going to be for this flower. So all these flowers that are on the front, I'm going to color with the same crayon. And then we're just filling in. And one thing I haven't tried with this, which I may do, is taking the clear Wink of Stella pen and using that to pick up the oil pastel color, and then that way it would get a shimmer mixed in with the color, which is an option too. And this one was a little light, so I just went over it a second time. And then we're going to clean off the block again. And there really wasn't like any rhyme or reason with the color choices. I just wanted to make it something bright and cheery for a birthday card. So there's really not much, you know, I'm just laying in the color, and like I said, doing the embossing powder, it almost creates like a well for where you're painting in the color. So like it contains the water, so that way it doesn't get too crazy or too messy. It's very light, just right in each petal. So now I'm going to pull my last color, which is going to wind up being a blue. So I almost wanted to create almost a rainbow of color. I wanted a green and a blue and a pink and a yellow. So I didn't do the full rainbow colors, but I just wanted to give that little bit of a effect. You can see here the color for the blue is going down really lightly, and I like that at first because then that allows you, like I said, you could always make it darker in the center and keep the petals lighter. You have a lot of different options, and it's just a matter of how much water you put down when you're picking up the crayon. And then we're just going to zoom back out and then put the card back together. Now, my plan was to do the happy birthday in the delicata, and I love this gold, but I have a hard time trying to get it to pop off of the card. So you're going to see me use the embossing powder again and heat it up, because that is also like a pigment ink, so it takes a little while for it to dry. So the embossing, it dries it quicker, and it also gives it a little bit of a raised up texture.
Holy moly.
Okay, so right now what I'm doing, because I laid it on there and it fades away, so I was thinking maybe if I put it over top of some black cardstock, the happy birthday would peek out. Well, it really didn't look the way I wanted it to, so I decided that I would do it in black again with the black onyx, cover it with the embossing powder and heat that up. I did off camera, and I'm laying a thinner piece of the actual the black cardstock. Like, I didn't want it to cover the entirety, but just that little bit behind it I thought made the happy birthday kind of pop out. And now I'm just covering on the back. I'm adding the 3M foam tape. Not that any of the watercoloring that we did made it warp or anything, but whenever you add it, I like to make sure that it's even, so that way it sits and lays on top of the card, you know, evenly, basically. I just said it. So once I put it down, I decided, you know what, it needs a little something. I didn't want to do sequins, so I went and got some of my rhinestones from Stampin' Up! And all I'm doing is putting the different sizes in the center of the flowers, just to give it a little bit of bling bling. And I decided to do all the flowers that we just colored, and then I'm also going to attach one next to each end of the happy birthday sentiment. And then I decided to put the bitty teeny rhinestones on there in the center of the all black cluster to make that look like a flower. And then there you have it. That's our card. Thank you for joining me today. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on Friday's video. If you have any comments, just make sure you leave them down below, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.